let's just move fast forward here. Grey Cup. Did you go to the Grey Cup, Perry?
I watched it on TV.
And?
I wasn't fortunate enough to go to Pizza and order a pizza and get free Grey Cup tickets, so I didn't go to the game.
In Hamilton,
okay?
but they squashed
Frank,
that right away.
Everything leading up to that game was a mockery. It was terrible the way the whole thing was done.
Why?
The game saved. Why? You want to know why?
Yeah.
I'll just give you a small example. You're talking about the commissioner of the Canadian Football League doesn't even know the proper website. That he called it, instead of .ca, it's .com. If you don't even know that. But beyond all that, he chose to say that there's no correlation between CTA, the brain injuries, and football. It's common knowledge.
I was surprised at that.
So I just think that the whole thing again with the pizza.
Did he used to work for a tobacco company?
No, he never worked for a tobacco company. I think
Because there's no correlation between cancer and smoking.
There's a lawsuit going on right now, and he's protecting his ass. Okay. So to me, it was.
With the lawsuits, but he didn't have to make himself look stupid.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a lot of things to use the word fumbled during this whole process. The tickets were overpriced.
$169.
They had to make a lot of corrections.
What
And
the
Frank,
hell
you're a
is that?
businessman. You understand corrections in terms of pricing. When that gets out into the public domain, the bottom line is there were a lot of things that were done poorly, but at the end of the day, the one thing about the CFL, and I know I've worked there, I covered it for a long time, the game will always be more important than anything about the league.
And what a great finish that was.
Listen, the CFL in Western Canada has been successful for 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
The CFL in Ontario and the East has never done well.
Well, it hasn't done well since all of a sudden you've got basketball, baseball,
Never ever made money in Hamilton or in Toronto. I can give you a ton of people who can come here on the show and tell you they've
We
lost.
know that, Frank, but in the 70s...
John Candy, Wayne Gretzky,
Bruce
they
McNall.
lost their shirts.
I know that. I'm just trying to say, when I grew up and you grew up, Frank, we thought the Canadian Football League was important, and the teams did well.
I used to go because a friend of mine worked at Dominion. We got tickets for free.
Yeah. Oh, they were averaging 49,000 people at CNE back in the late 70s, early 80s.
It mattered then. It doesn't matter now because there's just too much competition in the marketplace in Toronto, in Southern Ontario.
Yeah, and then the Jays started to get hot in 1984. The Argos won the Cup in 83, but then the Jays started to get hot in 84, and all of a sudden it became uncool to go to a CFL game. They just...
But how...
And why would it be uncool?
Because it's just not the place to be. Raptors, they have the young audience. So does TFC. Blue Jays, they've got the young guys. The
Toronto Argonauts have a specific generation to generation that's been passed on of people who are very loyal to the Argonauts.
Well, let me ask you this.
And it's the same thing with the Tiger Cats. And I think that the Tiger Cats went through, when Harold Ballard bought them, through some bad swings.
It's the first year under new management, and there was nothing from ownership to sell season's tickets from January to May. Then the Argos started off with a brand new, beautiful stadium, of course, for the Argos and their fans. They went 2-1, then 4-2, and they were averaging 12,000 people at a ballpark that I would go just to see it,
Well, they're playing in the right stadium for their audience.
12,000? That's for a winning team? Oh, kind of pisses you off. This city deserves better.
I don't think it does. I think it's the initial sale price for the best ticket in this year's Grey Cup was around $950.
That's right. That's absolutely
and
right.
Whoever did that should give up the business.
It was the person that was in charge of marketing, okay? The marketing person at the Toronto Argonauts decided that's what the price... Frank, I'll go back to you. You sell products every day in the marketplace. You understand what pricing is all about. You overprice your product, it's not going to sell. You price it at the right...
But hang on. I'm not going to defend this. You asked me a question, so I'm going to give you the counterpoint.
Okay.
If all year you're giving away cooking oil, and we're the biggest. We're number one. D'Angelo vegetable oil, D'Angelo canola oil in Canada. You give it away all year, and then the market fluctuates, and it goes up, and you get caught with low-price oil. You keep giving it away and not making any money.
I don't know. Is that what you're saying?
Trying to make a little bit of money because the market's gone up. So I think that the Toronto Argonauts, that's the big payoff is when you get the Grey Cup. You get to host the Grey Cup.
And you get to make back a lot of money
You
if
get
you
to
do
make
it right.
back a lot of money, and that's the payoff.
$6 million you could make if you do it right. I dare say, this is my prediction. You heard it here first. There's going to be changes at the business level and at the football operations level, because TSN, which owns this team with Larry Tannenbaum, we're not going to make any jokes about Larry Tannenbaum, are going to look at this and say, this was done so poorly, we are going to have to put our expertise into it to make sure this doesn't happen again, because you don't have the Grey Cup anymore.
See, I disagree with you.
Why is
I
that?
think they did it on purpose. They made the money, and then next year they'll say, we're sorry. But if they had to do it all over again, they would do the same thing.
Why would you think they made money if they had the baseline?
When they didn't sell half the house, Frank.
Yeah, they wallpapered that place, Frank.
Yeah, they didn't sell half.
I don't know what their additional revenues for TV was.
They don't get any. They don't.
The contract is substantial.
They pay $3 million, and I know this for a fact. You pay $3 million to buy the game from the Canadian Football League, and then you're on your own. If you make any money out of it, and you could make $6 million if you do it right, that's money that you get, which would offset potential losses.
So how many people went to the Grey Cup?
It was sold out. How many people paid? That's another story.
I would say minimally one half.
You know, and another thing that ticked me off.
Half the ticket price.
I was looking at a list of things to do this Grey Cup weekend, and just a party at the Metro Convention Center was $149 to get in, no open bar. Just to get into that tailgate party before the game, which was a great idea in the summer at Ontario Place, $40 to get in the lot to bring your barbecue, and I mean that's setting the. And Bill, you mentioned $900 for a ticket. That's just the wrong message to send.
I don't think nobody paid $900 for a ticket.
That's what the tickets
that
were,
was
though.
the price that was given.
Yeah.
Frank, I don't know how many people paid anything for a ticket.
Well, some people did pay, and those people that did pay were pissed off that all of a sudden the prices were devalued.
Absolutely. When you're coming in from out west.
There's some people that traditionally.
Why would anybody come from out west, Perry? I'm just curious.
Because this isn't about a game between two teams. This is an event, a one-year event where people who truly enjoy the Canadian Football League come there to embrace the entire week, not just the game.
Yeah, it's a
and
good
all those
product.
things,
It's
all
a
those
fun
things
game.
that happen during the week, those parties that are pretty crazy and they're pretty entertaining. That's the spirit of the Canadian Football League.
So you think that the Grey Cup here in Canada has the same effect as Super Bowl here?
No, I didn't say that at all, because the Grey Cup is a uniquely Canadian event.
Right.
The Super Bowl is a worldwide event. The Grey Cup does well. It's had 104 editions because
So Perry, the Toronto Argonauts hire you as their PR guy. What would you have done differently?
I think Frank, it's a really good question. I don't have the answer right now. I'm not the PR guy. I'm talking about.
But if you were, let's hypothesize.
You know what I would do, Frank? I would get the people who come to the games and I'd put them in my office and tell me, what do we need to do? Because they understand it, not the people that are running the team. It's the fans.
Yeah.
Let the fans tell you,
Yeah.
what do we need to do? Don't put on a tailgate and charge $40 and think that's the answer.
Well, who sponsored the tailgate? It was one of the major beer companies.
Yeah. But you know what they should do, like the Blue Jays do? Have an open house, a town hall meeting right there at Rogers Center. Tell us,
And they do that every year.
Every
year at the Grey Cup for about the last 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer, because I was there when it started off. The commissioner.
You were there 140 years ago?
The commissioner talks to the media and gets grilled. Then he does a town hall with all the fans who come there dressed up like yahoos. But that's where it comes out. That's the true spirit, and that's where the messages come out. And they tell the commissioner, this is what we want.